Loading.
All right. Welcome to I Bleed Hard Sports Network. We are live, and I'm with Rowdy Tiger on this Wednesday night at 7:30, and we're excited. So we're going to talk a little bit about Clemson basketball. We're going to talk a little about what's going on with I Bleed Orange. We started a new year, and just a few things. I did an article today, and we'll talk a little bit about IBO and where we're going. We were actually started 7 years ago, and as a product-based business. And so last year, about a year ago, we started as a sports network, and we took on 38 sponsors last year. We started a podcast. We did 13 live shows and 33 live shout-out commercials. Just a few people I want to mention. Colonel Tom Popcorn and Duncan, that was our first sponsor about a year ago. And then about a week later, we got South Carolina Gun Company and Greer, Purely CD and Greer. It's Your Wiener. We actually did the spring game. Vapor Nation did the Duke game. Tiger Liquor, Clemson, O Boutique, Luxury Pendleton, New Boutique Pendleton, Pendleton Candy Company, Rains on Main, Wake and Bake did the Miami game there. Anderson Ford. We did the Carolina game. Boneyard Cycle, North Carolina game, Military Day, S'mores Boutique and Saloon in Anderson, At Last Boutiques in Pendleton, Mr. Knickerbocker's, Romeo Pizza. We did the Florida Atlantic game, Columbo's Pizza. We did the Notre Dame game, Ollie's Tavern, Hodges Insurance, Bright's Pest Control. We did the Gator Bowl, Diamonds Gold Indirect in Anderson. We did the Wake Forest game. Anytime Fitness in Spartanburg, Fountain Inn Tap Room in Fountain Inn, HCDC Sports in Easley, a great place if you're in that area to pick up some Clemson stuff. Big Ben's Desserts in Lyman. He was on last week on the podcast, Palmetto Spirits in Spartanburg. Country Inn and Suites, did Syracuse game and boxing at the Depot, just to name a few. And we like to thank all our sponsors. You're what makes this possible, and we really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And newsletters and social media and shout outs. And we will mention you in the podcast. So,
absolutely.
That, let's talk a little bit about Clemson sports.
Well, Tigers are ranked 10th in the ACC with a 2-4 record and a 12-5 overall. And I'm not sure what exactly has started to happen, but I mean, they started out hot, and then we get to the ACC play, and apparently we just cannot find a win.
I was hoping this year would be different. Maybe it will turn around.
Yeah. I mean, my thoughts are, can they turn it around? I mean, we've got a couple games left here. We got Florida State, I think, next week.
Okay.
Sure, I got that schedule right. I know we have where's it at? January games.
Florida State's next, right?
Yeah. We've got Florida State, Duke, and then Louisville left here in the January month.
Okay. Florida State.
Florida State will be Saturday on the 20th at 4 p.m. on the ACC network. And, right now, Florida State's winning 34-26 over Miami.
What's their record? You got it, or you know?
Florida State is 10-6.
About the same we are.
Right.
Okay.
And they are 4-1 in conference play and are ranked 4th in the conference.
In the conference, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Florida State's going to be a tough match.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to turn around. They've got to win next week. They got to win against Miami Duke. That'd be a huge win if they can beat Duke.
Yeah, I think Duke's at Duke, isn't it?
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah. Florida State, are we playing them at Little John?
No, it is on the road, and we play Duke at Duke. And then we come back home for the last game of January against Louisville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's ACC.
I mean, they could totally turn it around. I mean, they've got the time to turn it around.
Yeah, we started off really, really strong. I mean, we beat Carolina, which, I mean, South Carolina's only lost 2 games.
Yeah.
And then we beat Alabama, always a good team in basketball. At least in the last 5 years, they've been a good team.
Yeah.
We started off really good, and then we got an ACC play, and I don't know. I mean, I think the talent's there. I don't know. It's not the talent. It's just like last night. It was a 9 o'clock game. It seemed like it took forever for it to show up on TV. And finally, it showed up, and it was back and forth, pretty close game. Deciding factor, I don't know. They had 15 3-point shot plays.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that equals. That's what 15 times 3 is 45 points.
Yeah. Well, right now the team leaders is Hall with 20.1 points.
Yeah.
Schifflin, if I can say his name right, Schifflin has got 9.8 rebounds, and Gerard has 3.4 assists.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
if they can get the ball around to Hall and let him do his thing, I mean,
inside. So basically, it's and we missed some free throws last night. A lot of free throws, and those are important. And then in the defense, the free throws, and so it comes down basically like last night. It comes down to defense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Brownell is like losing the locker room. Like, I don't know what's going on. I mean, Marshall said it when we had him on a couple of weeks ago. He said that, players weren't looking over their shoulders at the bench every time, it's like they were playing with a purpose,
Right.
I don't know if anything has changed, but I know that there was a little controversy that came up with Brownell, kind of pushing on one of the players in the middle of the game. I don't know if you saw that.
I heard about it. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, I saw the video clip. He kind of steps out on the court and kind of pushes the player back. I mean, I don't know what's going on if he's losing the locker room. I just can't see him staying after this season if nothing turns around.
Yeah, if we don't go to the big dance, I don't see it either.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Dallas Cowboys of Clemson basketball,
Yeah, right.
Start out good and they don't get it at the end.
I don't know, man. He's a great recruiter. I mean, he can get some recruits in. I mean, I saw a comment earlier today that said that we don't get the 4- and 5-star basketball players. We're not recruiting the NBA talent players like we do in football. Like, we get the elite NFL players for football, but I don't know. I mean, I'm starting to think we might have to move away from the head coach.
Well, do you remember NC State back in 1981? And when they won the national championship in basketball?
Yeah.
And they beat Houston, which was like, what do they call them? But anyways, it was like Dream Team. I don't know. I'm pretty much sold on the fact when it comes down to sports, it's basically talent's good, but really it's talent. And then you got to have mindset and you got to have the right coaching. Because, I mean, if you think about it, like, not to go back to Dallas, I know it's not a Dallas Cowboys podcast, but I mean, Dallas had more talent this year they've had since they've gone to the Super Bowl. And they got their, what's handed to them the other night.
Yeah.
And it wasn't talent. It was coaching, mindset. Green Bay Packers came in and basically wanted it more.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you look back at Nebraska when they played in 1981, they were a more talented team, I think. And they thought we were located in North Carolina at the time. And Danny Ford put the mindset and the belief into them. And we won the national championship. We beat Nebraska. So I think a lot of it, I think the talent's there. If you look at it, PJ Hall and who we got on the team, it's there. There's something that's missing in belief. Coaching is somewhere in there they need to fix.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like I said, something changed right before ACC play. Either that or it was smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, well, the talent didn't change.
Yeah,
it's like the play changed when we moved up to a different level. If you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, let's see season totals. I mean, Hall is on fire with let's see, FGMs. He's got 128, FGAs 243, and this is just for the season.
Yeah, he had a record, I believe, his highest scoring game this year, anyways. I mean, look.
Points, per game is 20.1 for Hall.
Yeah.
I mean, you got some playmakers. It's just I don't know what's going on. Like it's kind of confusing. You start out so well. I mean, the only loss we had was against Memphis, which isn't a bad team, but it was a close game.
Yeah, and we were up by what 7 or 9 at halftime. We lost.
Yeah,
to Memphis.
exactly. And like I said, Georgia Tech last night. I mean, 3 overtimes. I mean.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's not a bad team. I mean, they
got to put it over the mark there.
Still, I mean, we should have beat them at home. We're more talented than them.
Got to take advantage of that home field advantage. I mean, Duke and North Carolina has been thriving on that for years. The home field advantage.
Right.
I mean,
right.
And
it kind of comes down to what Dad said. It applies to football, and I think it also applies to basketball. It says, great offense, win games, but a great defense, win championships. And I just don't think our defense was there last night. I mean, when you got 15 3-point plays, that's a lot. That's a lot of 3-point shots made. I mean, you got to execute free throws.
I mean, I haven't seen any big names coming in on the recruiting board for basketball yet, but I think this should be Hall's last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah. Hall went out to play NBA and came back. He went out. I think he signed with Houston. Yeah, and he came back, for senior year to play. Yes, it's last year. And he won't be here next year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating to see a team start out so well and then just fall apart right here and in the heart of where we need to be playing the best basketball. Period.
Right.
And maybe they obviously have time to turn it around. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games left until March.
Really?
Then 13, 14, 15 games at the beginning of March.
The HCC tournament.
So they've
got that automatically in, but still.
Yeah, they've got time to turn it around. Thing is I think one of those seniors need to say something to the team. Have a team meeting. It's worked in football numerous times. I'm sure it's worked before in basketball. You just need a players only team meeting and come to terms and find out what's going on.
Yeah. What's the record? You got it. Or
12-5. Yeah, 12-5.
Yeah, we need to be about 24, 25 wins to punch a ticket. Somewhere in there.
Yeah. 12-5.
25. We need about 13 more wins. We got how many games?
About 15 left.
Okay, yeah, we need to win at least 10 more. You got to be in the 20s unless you've just had a really hard schedule.
Yeah. I mean, they're just going to have to literally go on a hot string. And, honestly, beating Florida State next week, I think, could be their biggest boost.
And
Duke, give them that confidence, because then right after that, they go and face Duke. And, that would be that right there could be the linchpin to the season is the next 2 games.
Right. Dude, what's their record?
I mean, right now, Florida State's winning over Miami, but, something he's got to change something, obviously. Like I said before, is he losing the locker room?
Yeah. Duke's 7th in the nation. They play Pittsburgh Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be huge.
That's what I'm saying. And beat them at home, which I don't think we've ever done.
No, I don't think so. It took us the longest time to beat North Carolina at home. And we finally did about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
That'd be huge. That'd be huge.
And they don't have Coach K anymore.
No. Coach K.
But, I mean, like I said, they definitely going to have a soul search in the next couple of weeks, really turn the season around. And, I mean, they still have the chance to get back into the, first round of the playoffs or March Madness, whatever you'd like to call it.
Yeah.
And, something's got to change, obviously.
Got to change, yeah. It's in the ACC. It's the second half of the season.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
actually. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. And I think they have the talent to do it. They totally have it.
Oh, they have the talent. It's mindset. I mean,
Yeah.
now,
it's like, with football. I mean, maybe we need to get what's his name to call in on.
yeah, I hear you.
Have him call in and maybe
the real Tyler talk to Brad Brownell. I think he does. I think he does. Yeah, he has a talk show.
Can you call the coach radio show for us?
I believe Orange calling in the gorilla from Spartanburg. Yeah. No, I think that. I mean, mindset. Look, I played tennis when I was growing up. I was number 2 in the state at one time, and I watched a lot of tennis growing up. And I've gone to tournaments like in Spartanburg over at the country club. They have like the top. They have a pro tournament every year, like in May, out at Spartanburg Country Club, and you've got guys out there that are like 134, 165. And you look at these guys play in person, and you're like, how in the world can anybody beat them? How can they get any better? And I was thinking about it one day, and I said, it all comes down to mindset, the will to win. The mind has a lot to do with a lot of this stuff, because you take somebody like Dobachek, you take somebody like Nadal or somebody like that. Tiger, I mean, even in golf, like Tiger Woods or somebody that's really the top of the top. And it comes down to mindset, because somewhere in there's the talent, the will to win, and the mindset in basketball, football, baseball, any kind of sports is the deciding factor. It's the tipping point that gets you over. I mean, I believe that. I mean, you got to have talent. I get it. But there's a point where you're in top 200 or whatever, whether in basketball, whether you're a top 200 player in football, basketball, baseball, tennis, golf. And it comes down to the point like your mindset, your will to win is going to override talent. I believe that. I really do.
Absolutely.
I really do.
Absolutely.
You look at Muhammad Ali. I mean, Muhammad Ali wasn't the biggest dude, but Muhammad Ali actually believed that he could win. And he had a big mouth, and he talked a lot, and he said all this stuff. And there's no reason he should ever beat George Foreman, because George Foreman was a bad, you know what?
Yeah.
And George Foreman had the strongest punch ever, and he beat him,
Yeah.
And so,
absolutely.
I think that's what it comes down to with basketball. I mean, we just got to have the mindset and will to win. And a lot of times that goes back to coach, you know?
Well, Hall said it last week in the podcast last week. He said, everybody's mindset was, you can't beat Alabama. No one can beat, they wasn't going to beat Alabama. And then we ended up doing it twice in the national championship game.
Yeah. And what did Dabo say? The day that Dabo was hired, what did he say? He said, we're going to win the national championship. Be all in, and it won't be long. And it happened.
Yeah.
And it all started out right here.
Yeah.
And nobody, I was listening, and I was like, okay, yeah. But really, he believed it. And he believed it, and he put it into his players, and it happened. And I believe with basketball, they got to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it goes
they got to do something to get them motivated. They got to get it in their mind that they can win they can win out. They could go undefeated in the next 15 games.
Yeah.
And they can do it. They're doable. They have the talent. They have the guys to do it. You're right. It's a mindset thing. They got to get their minds right. They got to get set and focused and go out and do it and execute it.
Yeah.
They got to, stop worrying about what the coach is doing on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, he, the real GM, he said it weeks ago when he said, they're not looking over their shoulder at the bench anymore.
Right.
Exactly. So they can do it.
You play a little bit of golf, right?
Oh yeah. A lot.
Okay. So I'm no golf professional, but I started playing about 20 something years ago, just because of business and stuff like that. People ask me to play. I never took lessons, but you go on the golf course and you go out there that first hole and you hit a good tee shot, and then you get it on the green. Next thing you know, that confidence builds up. You're not even thinking about it, man. Yeah. And you start playing good. All of a sudden you go out there the next day you go out there and you hit a tee shot, hit it in the woods, hit it in the creek, shank it or whatever. And your mindset's different. You start thinking. I don't know about you, but you start thinking about it too much. You're like, God, I need to hit this good. And it's like the more you think about it in golf, it's like the worse you play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm getting
got a
at? It's kind of
comment.
like you got to get into the mindset that, you've got this, you're going to play good, you're going to win this game before the game even starts. And because it's always harder to come back when you're losing.
Yeah.
I
got a comment here. Why do y'all think Clemson's men's basketball cannot get a player like Nathan George? He was the guard for Georgia Tech last night, but he could take off dribble. He could shoot lights out. I can't remember the Clemson having a player of that caliber in the Brownell era. My opinion,
yeah.
He can recruit, I thought, but at the same time, I think sometimes writing's on the wall when you see a team like the last 2 seasons start out so hot and then just can't finish in the ACC play era. And I just think that's, you see big recruits. They want to go where somebody's winning.
Right.
Why do you think North Carolina and Duke always get those top caliber recruits? First off, it came down to the coaching. You had some of the top tier coaches in basketball with Duke and North Carolina.
Right.
I just don't think Brownell is that type of coach.
No, I don't either. I don't think we've ever had that coach. We've had some good ones. Cliff Ellis.
Yeah. And we've had some good players in the past.
Yeah. Larry Nance, Tree Rollins.
Yeah. But
Elton
in
Campbell.
my opinion, I like I said, I think if anything's going to change, it's going to have to come from the top.
I mean, put it this way. Let's say that Coach K came to Clemson. That's all you got to say.
Phenomenal, by the way.
Everything would have been different. And that's what I always say. Everything goes back to the coach. It always does. You name me one team in any sport that was good, that was phenomenal, didn't have a great coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Bobby Knight. Say what you want to about him. I mean, Woody Hayes was, not the greatest guy with character, but he won a lot of games.
Yeah.
Dabo Swinney, Nick Saban. Yeah. It always comes down to coach.
Exactly.
And the first thing they talk about, like even when Dallas blew it again, I know you're not a Dallas fan, when they blew it again, I was about ready to throw the TV outside, put some gasoline on it, and burn it. The first thing they start talking about the next day is Mike McCarthy's taken us 12-5 the last 3 years in the playoffs, and we lost. But it always comes down to Mike McCarthy. It doesn't come down to Dak. It doesn't come down to the defense or whatever. It always comes back to coach. It always does.
Yeah.
And I think
in Dallas's defense, I think a lot has to do with their owner. I think the problem there
you're
is
exactly right there.
He's got too much of his hands on the situation, and I think that kind of plays into it. For Clemson, I think in basketball now, especially now that we can utilize NIL, that could be a way to bring in some of these top recruited players.
Yeah.
I saw an article a while ago, which Florida State football just got penalized pretty bad on recruiting with NIL violations, which, I guess that's finally somebody's going to start to look into that. But my opinion, I think Clemson needs to step away from the current head coach. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's had enough time, unless he turns things around.
Well, like I said, if he can, that would make a big thing right there. That would show me a lot right there. If you can take this team and turn around and win the next 15 games, or at least 90% of those 15 games.
Right.
So, why Clemson can't bring in the big recruits? It's obviously recruiting from the head coach, but makes sense. I 100% agree. Just amazes me that we are okay with the mediocre losing when ACC schedule comes and AD seems to be fine with it. I thought Clemson should have gone out and gotten Tom Crean. I'm not sure how you say that last name. When Indiana let him go, but it would have cost money. You're right. I think we have the money. We can afford to pay the football coaches what we pay football coaches. I'm pretty confident.
The second house paid football
money to pay the basketball coaches.
Yeah.
So I agree 100% on that. Sorry, it doesn't give me anybody's names on the comment, so I can't really recognize the person who just made that comment. But I agree 100% with that statement as well. I think we can definitely go out and get a top tier coach and pay them the money that they need.
Yeah, exactly. We're little old Clemson. We got some money.
Exactly.
We got the most excited fans in the nation. Let's do it.
I mean, it's the basketball team's not the worst in the league.
No.
They're not the worst so we do have some. I don't know. I can't think of the word for it right now, but we have something that we can work on and build on.
Exactly.
So,
and Danny Ford, Dabo Swinney, coaches, right? What do they have in common? National championships.
Exactly.
And it'd be nice during this lull when football season's over and you got to go all the way. I think we're down to 235 days, 14 hours, and 38 minutes, and 14 seconds, or whatever. We'll kick off during this lull. It'd be nice to have something else to be excited about, like basketball.
Exactly.
Football team's pretty solid. I mean,
the only thing we got coming up is baseball and women's softball, which there's another sport that we need to be able to get over the hump on is baseball.
Baseball, yeah.
We get right there at it, and then fall short.
Fall short. Comes back down to coach. You name one team that's won any national championship or Super Bowl that didn't have a good coach.
All right.
I mean, I can't. And the weirdest thing is they never get out there and actually on the field and play. But it all has to come down to the leader because the coach is the leader that inspires the players. That it's all mindset, man.
Yeah, exactly. But it's going to come down to I know Hall's leaving at the end of this year.
Yeah.
We've got I think a couple other players that are going to be leaving at the end of this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's not so. I'm hoping that if they're going to make a decision on that, they're going to need to do something so that they have time to recruit. But we
were lucky. Hall could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, and I really don't understand why the AD has let him stay around as long as they have.
After last year, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
Exactly.
I don't.
I agree. You're right. We do have the best coach, in my opinion, with Bakich. I mean, I like the fact that they brought Leggett back I think he's back as a consultant or he's something.
Oh, is Leggett back? Really?
Yeah, they brought him back last year.
Gordon Leggett.
Yeah, they brought him back last year to help with coaching of the baseball team after they let
Leggett. I thought you were talking about Leggett, the football player.
No. The coach.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah. The legend.
Yeah,
of baseball.
Yeah,
Jack Leggett. Thank you for
Jack Leggett.
Yeah. I think baseball is going to have a great season next year, along with the girls softball team. I mean, they came in hot. I mean, you cannot ask for a better start in girls softball than what they did in the last 2 years. Yeah. I actually think they would have won the World Series or softball World Series that first season if COVID didn't mess it all up.
It's actually a lot of fun to watch women's softball.
Oh, absolutely.
Right behind. I don't know if you've been to a baseball game. The field's right behind the stadium there.
Yeah. I completely 100% enjoy watching women's softball. It is just exciting.
So when I'm at a baseball game,
chanting and cheering in the dugouts. I kind of wish they'd do that in baseball. But, yeah, it is 100% entertaining to watch women's softball. So
yeah.
And I'm hoping to get down to Clemson this year for a few baseball games and hopefully catch a softball game when I'm down there as well. So
sure.
But yeah, for Clemson's basketball team right now, they're just gonna definitely have to hit the recruiting boards and hopefully bring in somebody that's one of those big stars. And it would have been nice to get that kid from Georgia Tech. That would have been a huge plus right there. So
yeah.
I mean, look, we almost had Zion Williams.
I thought we had him.
I thought we locked him on too. But
I heard some stuff. And I'm not gonna mention it.
I'm sure there were some backdoor deals. I'm sure there were some backdoor deals that made him go to Duke.
Before the NIL, and I heard some stuff. I've heard some stuff.
Like I said, you can't tell me that colleges aren't out there doing it.
They were Clemson fans. I think his dad went to Clemson.
Yeah.
And that dude, man, I've gone to a game in Spartanburg Day School about 3 or 4 miles where I live, and I've gone to a game. The dude looked out of place. He looked like an NBA player at a high school game, and he was phenomenal. And then we're all thinking, they're all talking, he's going to Clemson. And I remember I was married at the time, and I was at my wife, her son, they had the engagement. No, it was a reveal party about the baby or something like that. And we're over there and announced he's going to Duke. And I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
And so,
I couldn't believe it. When it was pretty much like a lock that he was coming to Clemson, and then all of a sudden it came out he was going to Duke, and we're all just like, huh?
I'm just gonna say I heard some stuff.
I'm 100%
has something to do with the green dollar bill.
I'm sure I'm 100% positive that there was a backdoor deal made.
Now the NIL's in basketball, so it wouldn't matter now.
Well, exactly, and that's what I was saying. I think Clemson needs to utilize the NIL a lot more to try and bring in the big recruits for basketball.
Right. I think so.
I think Dabo does a phenomenal job on recruiting on his side.
Yeah.
Does he use NIL at all? I don't know. But I know for a fact we can totally utilize it for basketball and bring in some of these big recruits.
Yeah.
Because but I think honestly, I think it's going to have to be a change of coaching before this happens, though.
I agree with you.
So that's just my opinion.
That's my opinion. He's been here a while.
Yeah, and every year it's we're doing good. No, we're not.
No, we're not. Well, every year we start off good. We don't finish well. I'd rather start off bad and finish well.
Yeah.
You start off good, and you're like, yeah, and it finishes bad. It's just
like I said. I hope that there's a
I mean, even
that they come in and have a soul search and bring it back and finish this season out with the next 15 games and win them 90% of that. If they can win 90%, that'd be the best. But
big dance. Go far in the ACC tournament. See, I don't think we'll win the ACC tournament, but at least get the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And win out most of their last games, and then see what we do with the big dance. But
yeah. I mean, last year they should have been in the March Madness, but got snubbed.
Yeah, we're right.
But then what? Hey, you go to the NIT and win or lose in the
first. NIT number 1, lose the last ranked team.
Yeah, I mean that says, in my opinion, that says a lot. Now, either the team said, you know what, we checked out because I call it the Florida State situation here.
I was supposed to write an article that night.
Snubbed out
in
the playoffs. Yeah. And then you don't show up for your bowl game, and now is that the same
we won? I think we won 2 NITs. I know we won one in like 2007. I remember watching. Yeah. But I mean, you're 65 when you win in the country.
Yeah. No one cares about the NIT. You make it to the March Madness, or that's it. Season's
all the NIT games come on like 11 o'clock at night on the West Coast. I mean,
yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying.
NIT. I mean, if you're a basketball player, it gives you a little bit more time to play, but none of the fans really care about that.
You're either in it or the season's a bust.
Yeah. I mean, what do you got? 30-something teams in there, so you're in top 100 or something, maybe.
What is it like? Top 60? It's 64 teams
64,
to start, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're not.
And then you go down to 32, and then the 16.
Really relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about football. We had 4 teams there for a while. Now we're going up to 6. To 12 or whatever.
I'm so excited for that.
I am too.
So it just like I can't wait to see the recruiting class for football right now, because you got these top tier wide receivers coming in, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
I think that's going to change the game right there, and I think we'll finally get to see Garrett's offense.
We're going to see it August 31st. We're going to see it.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're already putting big bets on the Georgia.
They got a spread yet?
I don't know if it was a spread, but they were saying it was like the number 5th ranked, like I can't think of the word for it right now, but it's like odds or something like that, like the number 5 ranked odds or something for the game against Georgia next year. So,
and they say they don't have the home field advantage, but playing in Georgia.
oh,
It's a neutral site.
You just call it a UGA home game because playing in Atlanta.
Yes, definitely.
Apparently, the spread is minus 12.5 for UGA.
Well, they're ranked number 1 next year preseason right now.
Georgia?
Carter, hold on a second.
I can't imagine Georgia
preseason. Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2, Ohio State, of course, they're always in there. Number 3, Alabama 4, Clemson 9.
Ohio State.
Is that? Yeah,
that sounds like
that was
last year's preseason.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say we were ranked number 9 last year.
2024.
But Ohio State's gonna stay. They're gonna be ranked in the top for the simple fact of if Marvin Harris Jr. stays.
Yeah.
So if Marvin Harris Jr. stays, Ohio State will be a tough team to beat, depending on how many more of their starters stay. But obviously, I think Ohio State will definitely be a team next year to look at. Interesting will be how Alabama does.
Yeah, and their new coach from Washington surprised me.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of guys jumping into the portal from Alabama.
That is a tough job.
When he gets on campus and starts telling them how his philosophy will be. I think that'll be interesting to see. Maybe Dabo can snag a few of those top recruits or players from the transfer portal.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. So, hey, look, I'm happy he's starting to use the portal a little bit. I mean, he's not gotten anybody from it, but he's at least
using it,
trying to use. Like he's kind of utilized it a little bit by going after a few players. I think he's coming to the understanding that I'm gonna have to go in there and see if there's players that he likes. But again, I think one of the things that I've always loved about Dabo is that he doesn't recruit the player because of their skills. He also recruits the player because of their mentality, their personality. Like do they fit the Clemson
culture
view? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And he puts the man first before football.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's more concerned about because 1% of the college players go to the NFL, so he's more concerned about building them as a man, getting them along to the future, getting them a college education, moving along. And I respect that.
I don't think Mappa has made a. And
Mappa's staying.
Did he make it? Did he make an announcement to stay?
He is. I heard it today. It came out today. He's staying.
Well, that's good.
Shipley's gone. Mappa's staying. Cade, of course, is still there.
I knew Shipley was going to go. Like, you just kind of that writing that was writing on the wall coming, and everybody knew that.
What do you think? Second, third round? I don't see him as first round. I'm not being negative.
I'm trying to think of a team right now that needs a running back. I mean, there's not a lot of teams right now that need.
Panthers need everybody.
Well, I mean, technically, Panthers has a good running back with Chubb. I mean, he's not a bad running back, and their backup running back that spells in and out for him, he's just pretty good. What we need is offensive line. Panthers need offensive line. Period.
Yeah.
Point blank. Period.
Like I said, the most important position in football is the offensive line and defensive line. It's the line.
Absolutely.
It's not the sexiest, but it's actually what wins games.
Yeah.
It's one of the lines.
Was it John Madden that used to call them the big sexies?
Yeah, and like we talked about it last week, the only time you hear about them is when they get a penalty.
Yeah.
At least on the offense. Defense, you'll hear them when they get a sack or whatever, recover a fumble. But offensive line really does not get a lot of praise, except when they get like a penalty or something. But it's really, to be honest with you, it's one of the most important positions. It's more important than quarterback, really.
Yeah, and that was a good thing that Dabo made a change on was getting rid of the
offense.
Hiring a very good, experienced offensive line coach, And I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed a little bit in that bowl game against Kentucky that the line seemed better. Like they had a little fire to them.
Yeah, they did.
So there was still some
before that,
Cave
Cave
and
was
whatnot. But
running
they
around all over the
had a
place.
little fire to them.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could see a total difference in that offensive line since he took over, what, a week, 2 weeks before that bowl game?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Good things are happening. I think, like I said, basketball, the only thing that's going to be able to change there is something's going to have to change with the coach.
Yeah, head coach.
You change that, we might have something going. Football, Dabo has already started making his changes, and I'm seeing wins next year for sure.
Yeah, me too. Let's see, 12.5 for Yuga. So it looks like they got Georgia
under 12.5 for the spread. It's minus 12.5 for the spread on that game for next year.
Yeah, somebody said we got the right coach in baseball with Bucket.
Yeah.
Amazed me how people are okay with mediocre losing. I'm just looking at some of the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish it would show their name though. That's the only thing.
This says Facebook user.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We'll see it later.
That's pretty cool. I like how you did that. I didn't know you could do that.
What's that?
Put the.
I can go to my phone and tell you who it is.
Yeah, I just realized something new.
We can probably fix that on stream. On the stream,
there is a way. I just can't. It was at the beginning, but I just like how you can actually put the comment on there. I just realized you could do that. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Let me see. We got I believe our sports network. Mm-hmm. So we've got a next Wednesday night at 7:30.
Yep.
We have some available. We need to find. Maybe we get that basketball coach on. She just had her daughter coming out of town. Couldn't make it.
Yeah, no worries.
If anything, we can get that field goal guy on. Still on the field goal. You see the thing we did at Atlas Antiques back in December? It's got like a little thing that you stick on the back.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll come on. We can't get anybody, but we'll look around and see if we can get. But let me go. Let's see. Bleed orange. All right. Let's see what we got here. Scott Westmoreland and Derek Johnson are the Facebook users.
Nice.
So it's got their name. It's got their name when you go to the phone. It just doesn't have it on here. I don't know if that's a
there's a way to put it on here. It said it at the beginning, how to do it, but I'm not sure. But I good things are coming. I see a future with the basketball team. I think that
it's weird how fans are. Because, people make fun of South Carolina because they got a women's basketball team. And they're dominant, right?
Oh,
and a lot of people don't realize.
But again, what's the common denominator there?
Well, if you ask 100% of the population at college sports and they ask what you want a national championship, 99% are going to say football, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm glad we've had 3 in football, but we just won a soccer national championship.
Yeah. But again,
about 50%, unless you're playing soccer in that family or whatever, a lot of people don't hear about that. I mean, it's a whole different story that you could switch to soccer over football. It just seems to be American sport. Football.
Yeah. But again, we have a great head coach at our soccer team.
Yeah.
We have a great head coach at our football team.
Yeah.
We have a great head coach at our baseball team and softball team. Our girls basketball, I haven't really seen a whole lot on the girls basketball, but
they're okay. They're not.
But good. Again, girls softball. The reason why South Carolina's team has a great girls team is, again, great head coach.
Yeah,
she's one of the best.
One team that's been great. They didn't have a good coach. I mean, any sport. Name one team that had a bad coach that won.
Yeah, true.
You can't name them. I mean, Really, you look at Phil. You know the Lakers when they were winning national championships. You look at let's see, Chicago Bulls. I mean, you look at the coach. It always goes back to coach. I mean,
yeah, but you could take that Bulls team and put anybody at coach, and they would have won.
you would think so. You'd think so. But I mean, he's usually a good coach behind them. You know.
Yeah.
Coach usually makes a difference.
I mean, look at the Miami Heat. I mean, they have a great coach, but they only won when they got LeBron.
Right. Well, you remember the Miami Hurricanes when they won the national championship. Who was their coach?
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson.
Exactly, Jimmy Johnson.
And when Notre Dame won, who was their coach?
Well, you had a plethora of legends at Notre Dame. I mean, the latest legend that was there was Lou Holtz.
Lou Holtz won a national championship there.
Yeah. But then you took Lou Holtz, put him in South Carolina, and what happened?
I knew you were going to say that. That's the one exception. You take Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier won a national championship, playing football, coaching college football, won the Heisman Trophy, went to the NFL, and did pretty well or whatever, coached the NFL, and then went to South Carolina, can win. And Lou Holtz, there's some South Carolina fans probably watching this, but I'm just saying. Lou Holtz did not win a game when you're in South Carolina.
I used to say back in the day, it doesn't matter. I used to say back in the day, it doesn't matter how many legendary coaches you go get, you still can't win.
That's South Carolina.
I bet if you took Steve Spurrier or you took Lou Holtz and you brought him over to Clemson, they'd have a couple national titles.
Yeah, he won a national championship coaching. Go to South Carolina. The only coach that I know of that just said bye. They didn't fire him. He just said bye. I'm gone. I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. So anyway,
I don't know. It's kind of seems like when Lou Holtz and Steve Spurrier went to South Carolina, I think that was on the downside of their coaching career. And
I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mind.
Black mark on their career, if you ask me. But
about South Carolina, they have not won They won one title championship. It was 1969's ACC championship. Mm-hmm. That's the only trophy they have.
Yeah,
they haven't won an SEC. And won a national championship and been in the college playoffs and maybe won a bowl or two here and there.
Yep. But I will say this. I will say this. The one thing that they have over us
is a women's basketball team.
two Heisman or one Heisman Trophy winner for sure.
Yeah, but you tell me that Trevor and Deshaun should have won.
Oh, no. Hands down. Deshaun Watson should have won. And even Kirk Herbstreit said in that national title game that the voters got it wrong.
Deshaun, Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun beat Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
I mean, Deshaun, I thought was and Deshaun won the national championship too. And Trevor
Herbstreit said it in the national championship game. They got it wrong.
Yeah.
The voters got it wrong. And the problem with the Heisman Trophy is the fact that you got too many early voting. Nobody should be able to early vote. It should be voting at the when the season.
It sounds like politics.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think about it.
Yeah, the voting should have been done at the end of the season when. And the thing is Lamar Jackson won the Heisman in the first 4 games of that season. All those early voters are like, give it to Lamar. He's already done all these stats. But again, he did all these stats against Syracuse that year that was not good. Another team that was horrible, and he just put up all those stats. And it's like all these early voters said, "Oh, he's got it. Just go ahead and give it to him." And didn't see how
Trevor? I don't remember. But Trevor was one of the most natural, greatest players ever played college football.
Oh yeah,
I mean, really. I think when you were down by 2 or 3 touchdowns going into the fourth quarter, Deshaun was the man that had the mindset and momentum to take you through. Trevor, from a national talent standpoint, was unbelievable when he played for Clemson.
Absolutely.
When you look at that Alabama game, I mean, Trevor was something else.
I agree.
But I don't see how he didn't win a national championship.
And I think Cade Klubnik has the capability of doing what they did. Again, I think what exposed DJ and Cade is just not having that good of an offensive line. if you go back and you look at offensive line guys that we had when Deshaun and Trevor were quarterback, you had Eric McLean. I mean, you had some big name, good guys in that offensive line. And then the offensive line just started going downhill after that.
Right. Well, look at 1981. We had the Bostic brothers. I mean, we had a great offensive line back then.
Yeah.
And,
absolutely.
So, yeah, definitely.
But,
we'll get enough respect.
I'm super excited for this upcoming season for football. I cannot wait.
I just wish they had it more than a couple of months out of the year.
I know.
Like I go through a football depression,
Well, so, that's what I think we were talking. I saw somebody talking about it on ESPN. They were saying that like with the 12-team playoff now,
makes it a little bit longer. We got a little bit more football.
They need to start playing. Maybe start playing in August versus September.
Yeah.
Push up the time a little bit. That way it's not running so deep into the season.
Yeah. I mean, I think it needs to be longer. I think you need to have more games.
Well, it's definitely going to be longer next year.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm excited about that. I think when it first came out, I wasn't sure about it, but I'm tired of even with Clemson, was undefeated. You're sitting there and they got them number 3 or 4 undefeated. And you're like, God, I hope they make it in. You're like, ugh. With 12, if you're undefeated, you're in.
Yeah.
In our league anyways, but it kind of makes it more exciting, makes it more competitive. It gives a guy like Florida State, who should have been in the top 4 this year.
Well, you have a chance for a Cinderella team now. You literally have a chance for that Cinderella team with a 12-team playoff. You're going to have that team like what
was the team down in Florida that went undefeated for 2 years?
It was like Florida. What was it? FAU or
FAU?
UF?
No,
the Bulls.
Florida.
It was the Bulls.
The Bulls, yeah, they went undefeated for 2 years.
Yeah. And the one year they tried to claim, I believe it was the Bulls. They tried to claim the rights to the national championship because they beat Auburn in the bowl game.
yeah.
But
they deserve something. I mean, because
absolutely,
and they couldn't help who they played. They couldn't help. It's kind of like in the SEC, and everybody's saying when we were really up there playing, well, y'all got a cupcake schedule. Well, every time when we won a national championship, we beat top 10 teams. We can't help the league we're in at the time. We can't help the schedule. So that 12
Florida State filing that lawsuit to leave the ACC, in my opinion, you're blaming the conference when it wasn't the conference's fault. The conference had nothing to do with you not getting into the playoffs. It had, according to them, everything to do with you losing your starting quarterback. Now, I think that's bogus that's a reason to not put a team in that's undefeated conference champion.
Right.
But it wasn't because of the ACC that caused them to not get into the playoffs. Period.
Exactly.
And again, if we had the 12-team playoffs, Florida State would have been in it.
So about 3 miles from where I'm sitting is Wofford College. And I think it was 2010. They made it to Sweet 16. And then they made it back again. And, I mean, if your team's not in, Clemson, UNC, or Duke, or whatever, and you got Wofford, some team local, it's good to have a Cinderella team. And you can do that basketball. Now, we got 12 teams. So teams kind of on the outskirts is doing well. You can't say the conference played anything to do or had anything to do with them not getting in now.
Yeah.
I
mean, you're definitely going to get that team that
you're probably not going to get a Wofford signal in there. But, I mean, the main team,
you're going to have that team like Coastal Carolina. That's going to actually have a chance to show that they can compete against big-time teams and have that Cinderella season.
Yeah, and you want that.
I mean, what was it for decades, March Madness, a number 1 seed had never lost to a 16 seed or whatever it was.
Right.
Like, never had happened. And then, a few years back, number 1 seeded team goes down.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what NC State was ranked when they won. Because that was like the best Cinderella story.
Is this are you talking about the season that
basketball? Yeah. Huh?
Was that the year that Coach V?
Coach V, the cancer thing and all that happened, all that stuff.
You're talking about that was the year that that year when they won, when Coach V was the head coach?
Yeah, because nobody saw that. Kind of like 1981. Clemson wasn't even ranked in 1981 when they started out that game. Went undefeated, and they beat some good teams. Beat Georgia, went undefeated, won the SEC championship. They might have played Notre Dame. I went most of the home games. But yeah. I mean, NC State was nowhere in the mix. And Coach V, Houston, I forgot the Pie Slamma Down. What was the name of their team? They had a nickname for them, but nobody could basically beat Houston. And they went in there and they thought it was a blowout, and they beat them.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great game to watch back then. Yeah. So I think I was only like 5 or 6 years old when that game was played, but I've seen highlights of that game, and it was great game to watch. So So what we got going on this coming up for I Bleed Orange? What's new? What's new going to be coming?
What's new? Well, we got, as far as like what we're doing, is we're going to do a March Madness live show. So we're looking for a sponsor for that. We got the spring game coming up, and I mean, you know, we always got the products coming up. Popcorn, you name it, we got like 40 products. So anyways, you know, news articles, we're doing the SEO marketing, the whole 9 yards, the podcast. We're mentioning all our sponsors on the podcast. I mean, basically the way I see I Bleed Orange is we're the Shark Tank of the upstate. We are a sports network, but I got a big heart for small business America because I am an entrepreneur and a small business owner. And there's not, I mean, I love sports, always have. And if I never started I Bleed Orange, been blessed with this, I would support the entrepreneur and the small business. So we're always looking to push the small business to the next level. And I was out at a car lot today in Spartanburg, and the guy was talking about, he's on the radio and he's done a TV commercial. But I'll tell you the honest God truth. 80% of all buying decisions are made right here on this bad boy right here. So if you're watching, I rode around all day today and I listened to the Roar. Nothing to say bad about that because I like the sports information. But I can't tell you one ad that I heard. I've been watching TV off and on all day, and I can't tell you one commercial I saw. So when you talk about marketing and the internet, it may not be sexy, but this bad boy right here is where you make your buying decisions. And we signed up a Spatel group over in Anderson back in August. When I go over to Clemson, Anderson area, he owns like 5 or 6 hotels. I say it's a particular hotel. The guy is actually at the front desk, and he was actually on the show with us back in September when we did the live show. And I was telling him, we need to get you guys on. So finally, he got me in touch with the owner, and I'm like, dude, you know, it is mid-August, and there are people from all over South Carolina and all over the Southeast, and they're going to be coming down for the Clemson games, and they're going to be looking for a hotel to stay on, and they're not going to be watching TV or looking for some article or this or that. Matter of fact, while I was waiting on the guy, I pulled out this magazine. It was like a fishing magazine. And it actually had ads in it, and his ad was in there. And I said, they're not going to look at this ad. They're going to go onto this bad boy right here, and they're going to Google hotels in the Clemson-Anderson area. And it may not sound sexy, but it gets results. You need to come up first on that page. Somewhere in there we get a lot of hits. So that's what we're all about, is getting hits to your business where you may not see it on TV, you may not hear it on the radio, but really it doesn't matter. Because when I make a buying decision, I basically, like, if I'm going to buy or I'm going to book a hotel, I booked a hotel for Clemson last week. I went on the internet. When I'm going to buy something, you know, I'm looking around for something. I'm not sitting around listening to TV or the radio to make a buying decision. I am going on the World Wide Web. And it's 2023, and that's what everything's going toward.
Yep.
So that's what we're pushing, and that's the new Shark Tank of the upstate, you know, and all over. Yep. And we're affordable, and we'll work with you, and we're able to cut deals, and we go over and above the average company out there. In other words, we're not, and I guess because I was Googling stuff, you know, when I started this about SEO management stuff, I get stuff every day, emails and stuff about search engine optimization, this and that. We're actually cheaper, but not only that, we're hands-on. We'll stop by and say, hey, you need anything? Can I help you out? We'll do a shout-out commercial. I did an article last night and included every one of them in the article. So, you know, that's what we're doing. Well,
I noticed that we're only about 200
from 30K
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be a huge milestone.
I started this 7 years ago, and this year, we've grown faster than any other year, and we hadn't had a season. Because, I mean, I tell people, we got basketball, football, baseball, and all this stuff. But basically, football is the engine that runs the machine for Clemson.
Oh, of course.
Think about it. I mean, really, if you do all the mathematicals and all that stuff, football, when you talk about tuition, you talk about this and that, talk about baseball, basketball, everything combined, football brings in more money to the college than any other entity coming in there. So, between we were at 20, let's say 21 in August. We're almost at 30K. And then we're 7 years old. So do the math on that. We've grown faster in the last 4 or 5 months than we ever have. And even though we didn't have the best season, I had more fun this year than I've had ever as a Clemson fan, simply because we're hands-on. We got to go out to businesses. We got to get people involved. We got them on camera. It's just been a great year. And this year's going to be even better. We had 38 sponsors last year. I'm shooting for 60 this year.
Yeah.
Let's double.
Well, like I said, to end tonight's show, we're
not going to do the Tiger chant. I want to do it, but it just doesn't work, man. When I was doing one, me and Ben last week, it's like you're over here, I'm 2 seconds over here, and Ben's 3 seconds over there.
I know. I think it's the way the feed works. Like it's a little delay, and it throws us all off. So
yeah, we're fine now. So however you want to end it, we're good.
Huge thank you to all the sponsors from 2023 and continuing to go into with us to the 2024. And I look forward to 2024 to this new podcast show and new things with the Facebook page. I'm excited about 2024.
Yeah, we're going to sponsor the Rowan people. We're going to do a show for them in March. They're coming up. They're going to go, from what I hear, from March, sometime in March, they're going to go from Jacksonville to Charleston. So we'll do a show there.
Yep.
And we'll come in at some sponsorship because I think we need.
And I'm excited to see, or maybe be part of the live show for the spring game. Yeah,
we just need somewhere to do it. We're probably going to do it in Clemson.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to try and do my best to make that.
You're going to go to Clemson game this year.
Yes.
Go ahead and put that on the map somewhere. Me and you'll go to the Clemson game.
Absolutely.
Maybe when you come down, we'll do a show. You can get on a show with us.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. Well,
all right, man. I appreciate it.
2024, man.
Let's do it. God bless, man.